Ever feel like your business's financial admin is the one thing holding you back from, actually growing your business? Well, if that sounds familiar, this is for you. Today, we're diving into a much smarter way to handle your company's finances.
Look, as a leader, you want to be focused on the big picture, right? Innovation, your customers, your strategy. But in the background, there's this constant hum of financial tasks piling up. Invoices, payments, and those ever-looming tax deadlines. And that's the real tug-of-war, isn't it? Strategy versus administration.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll talk about that growing financial burden. Then we'll explore a smarter approach. We're going to zoom in on outsourcing both tax prep and accounts payable, see how they work together, and then wrap up with a little checklist to help you figure out if this is the right move for you. All right, let's kick things off with what is honestly a pretty good problem to have, but it's still a problem. That moment when your business's success starts to create some serious complexity. Just take a second and think about it for your own business. As you've scaled up, what are those financial growing pains? The things that keep you or your team up at night. I'm willing to bet a few of these next points are going to hit close to home. See, as the volume of everything shoots up, so does the pressure. Suddenly, you're not just handling a few invoices, you're handling hundreds. Those tax deadlines feel heavier because the stakes are just higher. Compliance gets way trickier, and honestly, just keeping the books clean becomes this monumental task. And when all that piles up, you're risking errors, delays, and a real drag on your whole operation. But what if you could stop just reacting to all these financial fires? What if you could actually get ahead of them and be strategic? Well, that brings us right to our second section, finding a much smarter way to do accounting. And here it is. The solution is to strategically outsource those critical, time-sucking functions. Now, this isn't about losing control. Not at all. It's actually about gaining focus. It's about turning a part of your business that can feel like a money pit into a lean, efficient engine that drives you forward.
Okay, let's zoom in on the first big piece of the puzzle, tax outsourcing. This is all about taking the stress and, frankly, the guesswork out of what is, for so many businesses, the most painful time of the year.
So, what does this actually mean? It's pretty simple, really. You hand off the nitty-gritty work of preparing tax returns and all that paperwork to a team of pros. And these aren't just generalists. These are people who live and breathe tax code and compliance. It's what they do all day, every day. And hey, this is not an all-or-nothing thing. You can get super specific. We're talking about help preparing the actual returns, getting all your records perfectly organized for filing, having an expert eye review statements to catch compliance issues, and even just getting backup for your in-house team or your CPA, your certified public accountant, during that absolutely insane peak season. So what's the big win here? Well, first and foremost, accuracy. Professional tax teams have these structured review processes that are just designed to catch tiny calculation errors and make sure everything is compliant. And that can save you from some seriously costly headaches down the road. And of course, let's talk about time and money. The savings are huge. Your team gets freed up from all that repetitive, detailed work so they can focus on stuff that actually grows the business. Plus, you get to avoid the massive expense of hiring and training more full-time staff just to handle the tax crunch. Now let's flip the coin and look at the other side of the ledger, accounts payable or AP. This is all about mastering your cash flow and, just as importantly, your relationships with your vendors. And it's a similar idea to tax. AP outsourcing just means handing off the management of all your invoices and vendor payments. The goal is super simple but absolutely critical. Make sure every single bill is processed correctly and every single vendor gets paid on time. An outsourced AP team really handles the entire life cycle here. That means processing the invoices as they come in, matching them up to purchase orders, managing your vendor accounts, scheduling the payments, and then doing all the reconciliation and reporting on the back end. It's the whole shebang. So the first big advantage? Speed. Plain and simple. With professionals' streamlined workflows, invoices just get verified and approved way faster. This gets rid of bottlenecks and makes sure you can grab any of those early payment discounts. But there's this other really powerful benefit too. When you pay your suppliers and your partners on time, every time, you build trust. And that trust is a massive business asset. It can lead to better terms, more reliable service, a stronger, healthier supply chain for you. So yeah, outsourcing tax is smart and outsourcing AP is smart. But here's where it gets really interesting. When you do both of them together,
You don't just add the benefits, you multiply them. You create this awesome virtuous cycle of efficiency.
Let me show you how it works. It all starts with your accounts payable. A professionally managed AP process gives you clean, accurate financial data. Then, that clean data makes tax prep incredibly smooth. No more scrambling. With both systems humming along, you get way deeper financial insights, which leads to better decisions. And boom, a huge boost in productivity. You see? Each step just feeds right into the next.
Which brings us to our final and maybe most important question. We've talked about the what and the why, but now let's make this about you. Is it time for your business to think about outsourcing? Let's run through a quick self-assessment. As I go through these, just see how many you find yourself nodding along to. Are you growing so fast that your transactions are just exploding? Is your finance team constantly working overtime just to stay afloat? Are you worried about compliance, seeing payments get delayed, or watching those operational costs creep up and up? If any of that sounds familiar, it is a very, very strong sign that outsourcing could be a game changer.
So ultimately, it really comes down to this. You've got a choice. You can let your financial operations be a reactive burden that just eats up time and money, or you can transform them into a streamlined strategic advantage that actually fuels your growth. The right choice here can make all the difference.